Welcome to the Box Score Sports Podcast.
Okay, so we'll start with your Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Last year they finished 10-7. They were third in offense total, third in passing, fourth in rushing, and then their defense was 16th last year. Okay, so what was your favorite move that the Bucks made this offseason?
Just addressing the needs on defense between the draft and a little bit in free agency. I already mentioned I love the Reddick move, low risk, high reward type move, and then the drafting of the two young cornerbacks in rounds 2 and 3. And at first, I wasn't a giant fan of Emeka Buka, the draft because I just didn't think they needed help at receiver. And then you find out Godwin's not going to be there probably the first 4 weeks. They just Jalen McMillan just is going to be out for the first couple weeks. So now that Emeka Buka pick looks way better. So,
Yeah.
so it's like one of those things where it's just like, yeah. So I do like what they did. I do think they have potential to be uh a borderline top 10 defense this year. I do think their offense is going to fall just a little bit because they lost their offensive coordinator from last year again.
Hey, you're getting ahead of me here. You're getting
Oh,
ahead of
sorry.
me because you're taking away my least favorite move or lack.
Okay, okay,
Yeah,
okay,
yeah, yeah,
okay. I'll hold up. I'll hold
yeah,
up.
yeah.
I'll hold
Okay,
up.
okay, okay, okay. Let me Reddick. I like the low risk, high reward with Reddick. I think that's good. I also like that they re-signed their offensive lineman Ben um Brenson. Is that how it's pronounced? Yeah, yeah.
Pedersen or whatever it is.
Yeah, Benenson. He was pretty good last. He was pretty good, and really, like we were talking about offline. Basically, their offensive line was one of the better ones last year. So keeping that offensive line together and continuing to have that great run game and protection for Baker, I think is important. So I like those two moves on top of the moves you already mentioned.
Hmm.
Okay. Well, I'll start with my least favorite move because you got into it. I have two, but the one that you kind of mentioned was just losing the offensive coordinator again for Baker Mayfield. It's nothing they did or could necessarily prevent, but I just feel bad because every time it seems like Baker gets something going, he loses. Um, he lost Canales the year before, and then he lost Conan, right?
Going.
Yeah, Cohen. Cohen this neck last year and having the third best offense in the league according to the numbers. It's a bummer. It's a bummer to lose that. And now even though you still have a stability within the offense as far as the same players, you just don't know because every play caller is a little different and they see things differently. So you just hope you don't lose that advantage.
Yeah, the only reason why I didn't put that as my least favorite move, I'm not thrilled about it, don't get me wrong, is because I've now seen Baker do it 2 years in a row with new offensive coordinators and look good. So his numbers will dip a little bit most likely, but I was talking to our dad about it, and I'm like, what's a regression? He threw for 4,500 yards and like 40 some odd touchdowns. What is he going to do? Throw for 38 and 38 and 3,800 yards and 38 touchdowns? That's still not a bad season. So
Right.
to me, I'm not too worried about him. But I would have loved more of a guaranteed on the pass rush side. Much as I love the Hassan Reddick signing, I would have loved to see them get a more established pass rusher. And then that's my only complaint. Honestly, I didn't dislike their offseason because they kept their team together. But I would just love to see something like, even though he didn't go anywhere, but like a Trey Henderson or something like that come to Tampa. But I think there's 31 other teams I would love to see that too.
Correct. Yeah, yeah. Okay, let's go green flag going into the season for Tampa Bay. What is your green flag?
I think they have a lot of depth at a lot of positions. Uh, so like even if they lose some of their starters for some time, I feel like they'll be just fine. They got, they're when healthy, they're 4 or 5 deep at wide receiver with, solid receivers. They got two solid running backs. Offensive line depth is not great, but neither is depth. But I feel like they have a lot of depth, so they could afford some injuries. And I just think right now that's a good sign that they could just be even if they have a couple of injuries, they still I feel like can keep the lead in the NFC South. So
Yeah, I have their offense. I think is even though it's a concern of mine that they lost their offensive coordinator, it's kind of like what you said. If they get 80%, 85% of the production they had last year, they're still going to be a top like 10 offense. So that should be fine. Still be good. And then I do like their defensive line and the potential they have. So I do like that. And then the division is a green flag for me.
yeah,
Is
yeah,
I'm not really, especially two of the teams in this division, I'm not like super concerned about. So if you're gonna go green flag going into the season, it's that the division's pretty theirs, I think, in the grand scheme of things. It's theirs to lose, kind of.
yeah.
Give me your red flag.
Well, losing their offensive coordinator.
Yeah,
As
yeah,
much as I said I seen Baker do it, it's still always going to be a big concern. You had a top five offense. You're expecting a top 10 offense at the very minimum again this year, but it's a rookie play caller. He never called plays. He was their passing coordinator last year, so there's some consistency with it, but it's still a concern because you're you just don't know.
hmm
Um, and until you know, and you know there's going to be bumps in the road, and all you hope is those bumps in the road aren't as important moments,
right,
like super important moments,
right.
like against division teams or in the playoffs. That's when you don't want those to happen, but you're concerned because he's not established yet.
Yeah, no, like it. I do like that, and that's the thing is like just offensive coordinators call plays differently. So it's just
Mhm.
like no matter what, it's the same. You got to have that concern if you're the Lions or any other team that lost their offensive coordinator that had a great offense. It's like they're all different, so you're not going to get maybe the same consistency. So it's a little bit of concern. I put linebacker as a concern too. Levante David is great, but he's 35 years old,
He's still
and
great.
yeah, no, I know he's still really good. I just worry because at some point Father Time is undefeated. And so you're relying on him and then the other guy they have at their inside linebacker, Dennis. Um
Savante Dennis.
yeah, he I think he only played 3 games last year, but he doesn't his injury history isn't great right now. I think he's only
Nope.
been in the league for like 2 years. But still, so the inside linebacker position's a little bit of a red flag for me just because it once what if Levante David goes down, it's like, man, it gets pretty scary pretty fast. So he only played 4 games last year and then 13 the year before. So he
Well,
has a hard time staying healthy.
the reason why I'm not as concerned is that I mean I think Levante will be I mean eventually Father Time does catch up, so yeah, I could be wrong really quickly on that one, but I think Levante David will be he won't be as good as he was last year most likely, but he'll still be a solid middle linebacker. When Savase Dennis did play, he was actually really solid for Tampa. The issue is it was for 3 games and then he went out,
Yes,
and then for the rest of the season, and I think the year before he had a season-ending injury too,
I
so it
think
is
so, yeah.
concerning. But then you add Dion Jones, I want to say his name is. He's old Falcons middle linebacker, and though he is again older, I think he's still a solid option just to get by. So that's why I'm not as concerned. He wasn't on the team the whole last year until near the end, and he did okay near the end. So I think he would be serviceable at the very minimum.
Yeah. Just gets it gets scary fast if you get an injury or two,
100%.
And the other thing is like if you're going to be weak at any side on the defensive side of the ball, it's like linebackers the one you're okay with. So it's not like a big red flag, but it's just red flag enough. I just wanted to mention it.
Yep.
Fantasy football go to.
Emeka Abuka. Um, because I feel like you can get him later in the draft, and I feel like in the first half of the season he's going to put up some really good numbers with Godwin and McMillan out. So, like to me, it's the combination of where you can get him, because you can probably get him late round in most drafts, to the fact that he'll put up wide receiver 3 to low end number 2 options. So you could get him late, like I think that's what I think he's going to do right off the bat. So because Bucky Irving, I love him, but he's going in like he's going to be drafted in the top 3 rounds. Mike Evans, I love him, but he's going to go high. Um, and so it's like that. I'm looking for the value that you can get on that one. So that's why I like Emeka Buka.
Yeah, I like the value pick. I think Baker's another one that you could get some value on, because like once the top tier quarterbacks go, he's going to be somebody you can probably wait and snag a little bit later. But yeah, I think you still would be okay going with Bucky Irving as well. As high as he's going, I think he's going to be, like they were fourth in rushing last year.
Oh yeah.
So I
And
think that's okay.
he's gonna have a full season under his belt as a starter, so that's encouraging.
Right, exactly. Okay, let's go to our predictions. The Vegas over under had it. The one I found is 9.5 wins. What say you, Eric? What do you have the Bucks finishing?
I have him going 11-6.
Me too. 11-6. Yep. Okay, you ready to move on to the Falcons? Thanks so much for watching this clip of the Box Score Sports podcast. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you haven't yet, please subscribe to our channel. Follow us on Instagram and Twitter or X. And we'll talk to you guys real soon. See ya.